I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this. I don't know what Canada has turned into. For those of you who don't know, today, Friday, June 11th, Maxime Bernier, the leader of the People's Party of Canada, the PPC, was arrested by the RCMP in Manitoba, apparently, allegedly for breaching the public health orders of Manitoba. Maxime Bernier and the PPC are, by all accounts, the only political party that have been systematically and consistently opposing these draconian, unconstitutional lockdown measures. And Maxime Bernier has been doing what he's called the Mad Max tour, where he's been touring the country interprovincially to promote the political party, the message, to hold rallies. He had a leg of the tour that was going through Manitoba. Manitoba, to say that it is on strict lockdown measures would be an understatement of the decade. He has a leg going through Manitoba, and apparently he received a letter from the chief health officer, whatever, of Manitoba saying, if you travel and come into Manitoba, interprovincially, from within Canada, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. This is interprovincial travel within the country of Canada, that he would be required to quarantine for 2 weeks. We have a constitution, and it guarantees certain rights, one of which is interprovincial travel. He was told that he'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks if he went to Manitoba. He said in Twitter world, no, I will not be sacrificing my constitutional rights by quarantining for 2 weeks. And he went on with this leg of the tour. Now, the premier of Manitoba, for those of you who don't know, his name is Brian Pallister, in a video, which I'll show you in a second, stated to the press that if Maxime Bernier comes, he'd better respect the public health orders. He's already light in the wallet, which I now know means that he has been fined by Manitoba. I didn't know what the expression meant. And then Pallister says that he will not be directly involved in law enforcement, as he shouldn't be. As if, with the wink, wink, nudge, nudge of what is the world of political corruption, he would have to be directly involved in order for any Manitoban authorities to know exactly what Pallister's wishes and desires are in all of this. But he says he won't be directly involved, whatever that means. I guess it implicitly means he'll be indirectly involved.
Maxime Bernier is supposed to be touring the province and holding events Friday through Sunday this week. How is the province going to handle these numerous gatherings that are going to be set up along his tour?
Well, he's violating the public health orders. He's going to be light in the pocketbook, and I'd suggest that he not violate the public health orders, but of course I'm not going to be directly involved in the enforcement, nor should I be.
And lo and behold, Maxime Bernier goes to Manitoba to do the leg of the Mad Max tour. He gets ticketed by the RCMP. There was a video of that on Twitter. And then there's a video of him getting arrested by the RCMP on Twitter for breaching the public health orders.
Afternoon, sir.
Yes,
Corporal
yes.
Clark with the RCMP.
Yeah.
I can get you step out of the vehicle. I'm going to place you under arrest right now.
Yeah.
Right now, you're under arrest under the provincial health orders. Okay, so if you can just put your hands behind your back, face towards the vehicle. Okay, give me one hand here.
I'll get you in the vehicle, okay? Thank
Yep.
you.
The other hand. Do you have any weapons or anything on you, sir?
Weapon? No, no weapon. Only,
Anything on you that's
only
going to
my
hurt
words.
me or anything like that?
Sorry?
Anything on you that's going to hurt me or anything like that?
No, anything will hurt you. Only my words, only my philosophy, only what I believe in.
Okay. All right, come on over this way. I'll explain a few things to you here right away.
And it's remarkable. It's remarkable that we are living in a Canada that is locking up pastors, literally, that is fining political adversaries, literally, and that is now arresting political adversaries, literally, for conducting political rallies for interprovincial travel, where in Florida, wide open for business. In Texas, baseball game, 38,000 tickets sold. The rest of the world is opening up, and Canada is locking up pastors and now politicians, and simultaneously allowing vigils, exceptionally allowing vigils as a result of that horrendous act of violence coming out of London, Ontario. And don't anyone get me wrong in what I'm saying. The biggest and most disgusting thing the government ever did in this lockdown was deprive people of their ability to mourn and to grieve and to conduct the most fundamentally human thing, which is to grieve the loss of our loved ones. That is the most inhumane thing the government has done from the beginning, and I've been vocal about that. The idea that the government has prohibited people from conducting funerals, from mourning the losses of their loved ones, it's dehumanizing, and I have been vocally against it from the beginning. My point is not that there should not have been allowed to have vigils to mourn this awful loss coming out of London, Ontario. My point is that funerals and proper vigils should never have been outlawed in the first place. And if you're going to exceptionally allow those while simultaneously locking up a politician for breaching public health orders, we're not in the realm of science. We're not in the realm of constitution. We are in the realm of a country that has descended into tyrannical madness, and that justifies draconian rules for some and exceptions for others. Exceptions, as if the citizens of any country should need an exception to mourn loss, as if they should need an exception to exercise their most fundamental, their most basic constitutional rights and liberties. And that is where we are. And it's not only where we are. There are people out there who say, you just have to follow the rules, to which I want to say, awesome. Now do Rosa Parks. Now do all of these other egregious violations of human rights throughout the history of government, and say all they had to do was follow the rules. We are in a world now where the numbers could not possibly justify what is going on. We're living in a world now here where we see what is going on elsewhere. Opening up stadiums, concerts, venues, restaurants, etc. And here, they're still coding things by zones. Luckily, we're no longer under a curfew in Quebec, and they're opening up to terraces now. But we are in Canada, where we are restricting interprovincial travel. We are restricting freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, political rights, religious rights, and we're actually locking people up, locking up religious people, locking up politicians for violating these rules, while simultaneously allowing vigils at which thousands of people attend and at which leaders of all political parties give speeches to these thousands of people. It is a dark, dark day for Canada, and I always say, it's got to be darkest, what is it? It's darkest before the dawn. I don't know what the expression is right now, but it's been getting progressively darker. It's going to get lighter at some point in time, but people have to know what is going on here. This is beyond the pale of what anyone could have fathomed. I mean, we've already gotten to a point where if you had asked anyone, me, 2 years ago, could you ever imagine a world in which the government would tell you when you could leave your house for a virus with the lethality of what we know COVID has now? I would have never said they would have done it in the first place, let alone under such circumstances. And now we're in a world where people have willingly allowed the government to lock them in their homes, shut down their businesses, and we're getting into a world now where interprovincial travel might be predicated on vaccine passports for emergency authorization use vaccines that are not FDA approved, for which immunity has been given to the manufacturers, and people are like, just follow the rules. All Maxime had to do was not hold that rally in front of, I'm not saying this to be demeaning, it wasn't a massive rally. It was 20, 30 people outdoors. And you just get the police just doing their jobs, just enforcing the rules. All you had to do was not follow the rules. All the government had to do was not enact fundamentally and egregiously unconstitutional rules in the first place. So Maxime is, by the way, is still in jail. For the JCCF, Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, has announced by way of press release that they're representing him. Maxime is in jail because they're negotiating the bail terms. Maxime, like other principled people who are prepared to sacrifice themselves for what they believe in, is not going to agree to bail release terms that he does not intend on following. So it might be another situation of Pastor James Coates, the pastor who was locked up for 35 days for refusing to agree to bail conditions that he would not respect if they let him out. Locked up for 35 days on underlying charges, which themselves never carried any jail time. But hey, If the underlying infraction doesn't carry any jail time, well, violating your bail terms does. And they can get you on the procedure if they can't get you on the substance. So Maxime, right now, a leader of a political party in what is supposed to be a free and constitutional country, locked up in jail, pending. We'll see what happens. We'll see how long this goes for. We'll see what conditions they impose on him while he's in jail. They might put him into 2 weeks isolation because of COVID. Because now he's in a new place, he might have to go through the 2-week quarantine in jail to make sure that he doesn't have coronavirus. It's a dark day. I'm trying to be optimistic, but if nothing else, maybe now people are going to see that we've gone just a touch too far. Maybe people are going to see right now that as far as it goes in Canada, you have a Liberal government by name, you have a Conservative government by name, you have an NDP government by name, and between the three of them, nobody cares about the Constitution. Nobody cares about civil rights. Nobody cares about practical, logical governance. What they care about is imposing draconian rules that they can apply willy-nilly to whomever they want and apply exemptions to whomever they want. Whether it's for a vigil in London, Ontario, or for giving the hockey team an exemption from the quarantine hotels that they impose on any other international travel. When you have idiotic rules and arbitrary exceptions, you have no logical rule in the first place. And these illogical rules are fundamentally unconstitutional in the first place. Viva Rant, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Things will get better or they won't get better. I don't know where to leave it. Peace.